Right. Okay.
Yeah, welcome to Professor Gir sir as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Nagappa sir. Good afternoon, Rakesh Somani sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
And everyone else.
Good afternoon, sir. Good
afternoon.
Yeah, I think we will start the session, Nagappa sir.
Yes.
With your due permission. Yeah. Shilpa madam, please take the session further. Shilpa madam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
So, starting with our session. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Shilpa Bhelegaonkar, faculty from PSS Rajaram and Tarabai Bandekar College of Pharmacy and Goa State Coordinator for the Western Regional Center of Association of Community Pharmacists of India. Henceforth, we will be referring as WRC ACPI. As we all know, the Indian Pharmaceutical Association has been celebrating the National Pharmacy Week every year during the third week of November. The major focus
Shilpa madam, we are not able to hear you. Hello.
There is some audio problem. Connectivity, I think.
Yeah. Dr. Shilpa. She's rejoining. All others are requested to mute themselves. Shilpa madam, there was an audio problem. You can restart, please. We were not able to hear you.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes,
ma'am.
sir. Am I audible now? I think there is some internet.
Now you are audible. We were not able to hear you. Please restart.
Hello.
Yeah, Shilpa madam, please start again.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
You are audible, madam.
Sir, I'll shift my internet connection. Give me 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. Otherwise, video you can switch off. There is some noise at the background at someone's place. Please switch off your audio, please. This is Arnind's request. Sorry for the inconvenience. We'll start again.
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Rupesh, sir?
Yes, madam, you are
Audible?
audible.
Yes.
Please restart.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, extremely sorry, everyone, all the participants. There is some connectivity problem. So to start, as I said, the Indian Pharmaceutical Association has been celebrating the National Pharmacy Week every year during the 3rd week of November. The major focus of NPW celebration is to create the awareness amongst the public and other healthcare providers and the authorities about the NPW theme, in particular about the pharmacy profession and the role of the pharmacist in general. This year, we are celebrating 61st National Pharmacy Week on the theme from 20th to 26th November 2022. So over here, to contribute in the celebrations of the National Pharmacy Week, WRC ACPI has organized today's session, that is the seminars which are on the theme India's contribution in serving the global healthcare sector, summary till date, by the eminent speaker in the field, Dr. Atul Kumar Nasa and Dr. Mohammad Ishaq Gir. I welcome all the speakers and all the participants over here. And over here now, to start with our session, I request the National President of WRC ACPI, Dr. Anant Nagappa sir, to declare the NPW celebrations of the WRC ACPI open and also to propose the opening remark. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shilpa Belgaonkar. It's very nice saying that you have organized such a function. Now, today in the morning, I was conducting a program for Badon College of Pharmacy, Uttar Pradesh. There, a thought came to my mind that although the pharmacy practice regulations clearly states that a registered pharmacist can give pharmaceutical care, all our teachers are registered pharmacists. Why we are not taking a lead? Why? Who is preventing us? And of course, there's a difference. You cannot open a medical shop, but pharmaceutical care you can give. All of you are eligible to give pharmaceutical care. I request your Rakesh Somani ji to arrange one program of Community Connect pharmaceutical care everywhere, 1 hour program, and we shall start the units. Actually, we have started around 10 units in India, different parts of the country, and it is going on. The pharmaceutical care has been started, where we associate 3 international practicing pharmacists to each group. So with this thing, I would like to make clear that we are eligible to give pharmacy practice, pharmaceutical care. All registered pharmacists can give pharmaceutical care. That is the law says. The law clearly mentioned that all registered pharmacists should give it. And 2015, the Government of India passed the resolutions act, and then in 2021 they came out, and last month I think the PCI, through the initiation of the Government of India, they're telling you registered pharmacists you start practicing. So there can be controversies, but registered pharmacist means registered pharmacist is eligible, and I have seen several models across the globe. The teachers are also practicing. I got a practical case studies. I got the phone numbers. If you want, you can. I will connect you with them. So thank you very much. Let this session go on. Thanks a lot.
I request Ms. Shefali to show the inauguration slide so that we can go ahead with the opening of the NPW. Yeah, so over here, everyone, this is the inauguration of the National Pharmacy Week celebration from the Western Regional Center of Association of Community Pharmacists of India. Here, I request the President of WRC ACPI and Principal of D.Y. Patil School of Pharmacy, Dr. Rakesh Somani sir, to brief us about the vision and functioning of WRC ACPI. Over to you, Somani sir.
Yeah, thank you, madam. May I request IT team to please take care of those who are not talking, so that there is a lot of disturbance during the Dr. Nagappa sir's talk. So please, mute those people who are not talking as of now. So a very good afternoon to one and all present on this platform after a long time. We are going again on the online mode. The WRC ACPI, that is Western Regional Center of Association of Community Pharmacists of India, was being motivated by Dr. Anant Nagappa sir, and I welcome Dr. Nagappa sir and our today's speaker, Professor Ishaq Gir sir, as well as Dr. Nasa, who will be joining us very soon. Apart from that, let me welcome all the eminent personalities, the hospital pharmacies, the community pharmacies, students, faculty members who are present on this platform. The WRC ACPI started its journey in 2020, so it is a 2-year-old baby as of now. And taking the full advantage of the lockdown situation, the WRC ACPI conducted several activities since then. We got inaugurated on the 18th of August 2020, and we have a setup of 3-tier setup kind of. We have a strong mentoring board who help us, direct us what kind of activities can be done. There are people from abroad also on this mentoring board. Then we have we have a core committee of 7 to 8 people comprising from all the active faculty members and the community pharmacists from Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Goa. Then there is executive council. For every state, we have some state coordinators, as well as we now wish to go to the local levels, that is college level, where we want to start a college level coordinator also for initiating the activity or executing the activity of WRC ACPI. I'm really happy to share that during this period of 2 years, the WRC ACPI has conducted several seminars. To mention a few of them, the titles are, for example, the backbone of patient pharmacy is the backbone of patient care system. Number 2, confronting the realities of community pharmacy, the unspoken truth and the way ahead. Number 3, going beyond dispensing, the dynamic role of pharmacist in healthcare arena. Number 4, pre-dispensing considerations and prescription audit, the pharmacist approach. Number 5, now it's time for action to the pharmacist. Number 6, e-symposium on immunotherapy. Number 7, empowering educator in teaching social pharmacy as per Education Regulation 2020. Number 8, community pharmacy challenges and opportunity. Apart from these 8 seminars, we also conducted a very important event. That is, we trained more than 25 pharmacy teachers from all these 4 states in patient counseling. The training was done by Dr. Anil Mrutyunjaya, who was working at Malaysia at that point of time, and it was an exhaustive training. So this training, these teachers underwent 4 weeks exhaustive training in the patient counseling. And now our next step is that these trained teachers will now train the community pharmacists in their nearby area in patient counseling. That is how, with whatever infrastructure and the manpower and the support is available, the Western Regional Center of of ACPI is working. We have a committed team of the volunteers from different colleges, and as you know that this is a selfless service to the profession. We are always guided by Dr. Anant Naik Nagappa, our national president. He is always available for support, and I'm thankful to Professor Nasa, Dr. Nasa, as well as Professor Ishaq Gir sir. Both of them were available on one single request and agreed that they would like to, they would be, talking and guiding us on this. Thank you so much once again for joining us on this platform, and look forward to take the activity of community pharmacist welfare in future too. Thank you, Dr. Shilpa, over to you.
Thank you, sir. As sir said correctly, that WRC ACPI is working towards enrichment of the community pharmacists of India. And I personally always believe that in whichever sector of the pharmacy profession we are working with, the major thing over here is always the face of pharmacy profession is the community pharmacist. Whatever the quality measures we are taking, whatever the level of education we are giving, until and unless it is not reaching to the patient in a correct manner, the quality of the pharmaceutical medicines will not give the correct effectiveness and the result. And hence it is very much necessary that all the community pharmacists should be educated, and subsequently their strength should be utilized in the profession of pharmacy. And that is a vision of Western Regional Center of Association of Community Pharmacists of India. And I really appreciate the vision of Anant Naik Nagappa sir, the founder member of Association of Community Pharmacists of India, that time to understand the need of the education of the community pharmacists and starting this particular organization. Now over here, going ahead with our seminar sessions. Here, first we are going to start with the session of Professor Muhammad Ishaq Gir on the topic India's stride towards enhancing access to healthcare through the socialization of medicine. Now, over here to introduce Sir, Professor Gir Muhammad Ishaq has been working as a professor of pharmacology in the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, University of Kashmir over the last 20 years. At present, he holds the additional charge of Director, Center of Career Planning and Counseling, University of Kashmir. Prior to joining University of Kashmir, Professor Gir has served as a drug control officer for a period of 3 years. Professor Gir has completed his post-graduation in pharmacology from Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Karnataka with distinction, and his doctorate in the same subject from the University of Kashmir. He has been instrumental in designing and starting a PG program in pharmacy practice in 2009 and is presently in charge of this program offered by the University of Kashmir. Professor Gir has earlier served as coordinator of UGC Human Resource Development Center of the University of Kashmir for a period of 5 years, and in this capacity has organized and conducted numerous faculty development programs for the college and university teachers. Professor Gir has published more than 50 research papers and presented the same number of papers in various national and international conferences. He and his research team has won 5 Best Paper Awards in various conferences and journals. He has delivered more than 110 extension lectures on the various topics outside his department, besides publishing more than 120 popular articles in the print media. He is a peer reviewer and the editorial board member of several highly reputed international journals. and has reviewed numerous papers for the same. Professor Gir has also appointed as a member expert committee on the antibiotic utilization under National Drug Utilization Evaluation Program of India by the Indian Council of Medical Research, New Delhi. Recently, he has appointed as an advisor to the price monitoring and the resource unit of Drug and Food Control Organization and has also been appointed as a member of PG Curriculum Committee of the Pharmacy Council of India, New Delhi. Professor Gir has supervised many postgraduate and doctoral research scholars and has also been enlisted as a peer reviewer by the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, that is NAAC, located at Bangalore. With this, I welcome our speaker, Professor Gir Mohammad Ishaq, to start with the session. Over to you, sir.
Right. Thank you very much for that elaborate introduction, Dr. Shilpa. At the very outset, I would like to pay my regards to the National President of the Association of Community Pharmacists of India, Dr. Anantanayak Nagappa, and also my regards to the President of the Western Regional Center Association of Community Pharmacists of India, Dr. Rakesh Somani, and Coordinator Dr. Shilpa Bhile-Gaonkar, and other members of the organizing committee. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all the organizers of this particular webinar. And I thank them wholeheartedly for inviting me at this very occasion of 61st National Pharmacy Week celebration to speak on the topic, India's strides towards enhancing access to healthcare through socialization of medicine. And as you all know that this year's theme of 61st National Pharmacy Week has been chosen to be India, the Pharmacy of the World. And we are supposed to think about and deliberate and discuss issues related to India's contribution in serving the global healthcare sector, a summary till date. And in this connection, the topic that I have chosen for today is also addressing the same concern, that is the access. And just now I was listening to Dr. Rakesh Somani, and it's really heartening to know that the contributions that they have made from the Western Regional Center in terms of pharmaceutical care, in terms of this community pharmacy practice, and in enhancing the competencies, capabilities, and skills of the pharmacists in terms of patient counseling, in terms of drug information services and other services. So they are doing a commendable job. And as also mentioned by Dr. Anant Nagappa sir, that more needs to be done in terms of pharmaceutical care. And we need to acknowledge and aware people, our pharmacy community, about the services that we could impart in terms of pharmaceutical care services. And we can carve a niche for ourselves by excelling in this field. And we could also become an integral part of the healthcare system. So I will just share my presentation for today, which is related to the India's strides in enhancing access. So I hope my slides are visible.
Yes, sir.
Right. So my topic is going to be India's strides towards enhancing access to healthcare. Now, ladies and gentlemen, access is a very important theme which has been chosen for this year's National Pharmacy Week celebration, because worldwide there's a huge population that suffers from the catastrophes of inaccessibility to healthcare, inaccessibility to medical care. And India is a world leader in pharmacy. It's known as the pharmacy of the world. Earlier, it was known as, initially it was known as the pharmacy of the global south. Then it was known as the pharmacy of the developing world. But now it has elevated its status to the pharmacy of the world. So, because we are the suppliers of the good quality generic medicines to a good proportion of the world, to not only to the developing nations, but also to the developed countries of the Europe and America. And therefore, we need to see our pharmacists, our budding pharmacists need to know how India is contributing towards the global healthcare, and where we have reached, and what are the further heights that we need to achieve. What are the further these achievements and accolades that we need to achieve in days to come. I dedicate this presentation of mine to the 75th year of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and the theme is Pharmacy of the World, India, which has been outlined by the Indian Pharmaceutical Association for celebration of the 61st National Pharmacy Week. As I was telling you, what is the need to, why do we need to discuss about access? Access is not a part of our pharmacy curriculum, I suppose, but still it's a very important topic to discuss and deliberate upon, because Worldwide, 1/3 of global population does not have adequate access to medicines. This has been said by the World Health Organization that very recently the world population has touched 8 million. And out of these 8 million people, around 1.3 to 2.1 billion people do not have adequate access to medicines. When we say access, we mean either the medicines are not available to them, healthcare is not available to them, or it is not affordable to them. So accessibility literally means affordability and availability. And as a result of this unavailability or inaccessibility of healthcare and medicines, around 10 million people die worldwide as a result of this. So it's a huge number. If 10 million people are dying because of inadequate access to medicines, this is something which we need to be concerned about and which we need to look solutions for. And when we look at the countries which are concentrated in Asia and Africa, this proportion increases to 50%. In rest of the world, only 1/3 of population does not have access, but in African and Asian countries, half of the population does not have adequate access to medicines. And then when we come down to our own country, India, way back in 2011, World Health Organization in its World Medicine Situation Report had said that 65% of our population does not have adequate access to medicines. But now this situation has considerably improved because of the many flagship schemes which have been brought in by the government of India. For example, the Ayushman Bharat Prime Minister, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana or Jan Aushadhi Yojana and many other schemes. But in 2011, the situation was very, very bad. 65% of our population, which is around 130 crores, is a huge population that comprises of 30% world population, was not having adequate access to medicines. That means either it was not affordable to them or it was not accessible, available to them, and many people were dying for want of this access. Globally, when we see 150 million people suffer financial catastrophes as a result of the expenditures on healthcare, expenditures on medical care, while as 100 million people worldwide are pushed below the poverty line. So this is a huge number. If 100 million people are pushed below the poverty line, this is not a small problem. It's obviously a very huge problem. That too, when we all know that access to medicine is a basic right to health. So it has been enshrined in our constitution under Article 21 as a right to life and liberty. It is a part and parcel of the right to life and liberty. So it is a very much fundamental right which has been guaranteed to us by the constitution, a right to health care. But if 65% or let us say 50% of the population is not having adequate access to the medicine, then it becomes a huge concern. And access to medicine is a very, very important key developmental challenge. All of you might have heard about the Millennium Development Goals. Now we are going through the Sustainable Development Goals. So these Millennium Development Goals were outlined by the United Nations Organization, and under MDG 8E, that is Target 17 and Indicator 46, access to medicine has been enshrined as one of the important Millennium Development Goals. And now it has been carried forward as a Sustainable Development Goals, which we need to achieve by the year 2030. And access to medicines has also been recognized as a human right by the international community under Article 12 of the 1966 International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. The right of every single person has been recognized. The enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health has been recognized as a basic health, fundamental human right. So therefore, any society which considers itself humane, civilized society has to provide equitable access to medicines and healthcare to all its citizens, irrespective of their caste, creed, color, religion, and even the economic status of the people. That is, if we claim to be humane and civilized people, we cannot leave a significant proportion of our population with less access to medicines and healthcare. So that's why this is a very, very important aspect, and it has been chosen as a theme for the celebration of 61st National Pharmacy Week by the Indian Pharmaceutical Association. Now, when we look at the Indian pharmaceutical industry, how Indian pharmaceutical industry has contributed towards enhancing access to medicines and healthcare, India is ranking 3rd worldwide by the volume of production, and it is ranking 14th by the value of pharmaceuticals that we produce, which is 10% of the world's production by volume and 1.5% by the value of the the material which we produce. So obviously that makes India a big leader, a big player in the pharmaceutical industry. And it also ranks 4th in terms of the generic production. It ranks 17th in terms of the export value of the bulk drugs. And our exports are destined to more than 200 countries around the globe. So we are exporting to more than 200 countries, not only in Africa and in other Asian countries, but also to US, Western Europe, Japan, and Australia. So India is the 3rd largest market for active pharmaceutical ingredients. 8% of the share of global APIs is governed by India. More than 500 different active pharmaceutical ingredients are manufactured in India, and India contributes 57% of the active pharmaceutical ingredients as per the WHO pre-qualified list. So the total annual turnover of Indian pharmaceutical industry today stands at 2,89,000 crores, and half of that goes into exports. 1,46,000 crores goes into exports. In terms of US dollars, our annual turnover today is roughly around $42 billion. Out of which around $24 billion goes into exports. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you look way back in 1970, it was only 280 crores. So from 280 crores, we have made a quantum leap to 42 billion US dollars. So in other words, in 1980, it was only 1 billion US dollar. And from 1980 to 2022, we have jumped from 1 billion US dollars to 42 billion US dollars. So that's a huge leap which we have taken. And I'm sure all of you might have been aware how it all happened, because in 1970, new Indian Patents Act came in. Earlier, we had only the product patent and we did not have the process patent. That is, we were able to manufacture a drug which was patented elsewhere by a different process. So though we were not able to manufacture the same drug by the same process, but we were able to manufacture the patented drug by a different process. And this continued from 1972 to 2005. That is when India became a member of the World Trade Organization and became a signatory of the GATT agreement, General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. And during this span of 32 to 35 years, through reverse engineering, India could manufacture a whole lot of drugs which were patented elsewhere. And thus it could enhance the access of medicines. For example, in African countries, there were many people who were dying because of AIDS, and they were not having adequate access to medicines. And Indian pharmaceutical industry, Cipla, came in and they became the rescuers of the humanity. They manufactured the generic version of the drug Zidovudin, and they made, which was earlier selling at around $10,000 for the whole therapy at that time in 80s. They made it available, the whole therapy, for just somewhere around $1,000. So India has been contributing lakhs of lives saved in African countries because of this India's huge mammoth contribution in antiretroviral drugs. And today, 97% of the antiretroviral drugs that are being supplied to the poor nations, charity organizations, they are being supplied from India. They are being manufactured in India. And today, India is manufacturing more than 20,000 pharmaceutical, more than 60,000 formulations, which are being manufactured by more than 20,000 manufacturers in 60 therapeutic categories, and 50 to 400 bulks are being manufactured in India. So India is the country with the largest number of US FDA compliant plants. We have the highest number of US FDA compliant plants, that is around 262 manufacturing plants which manufacture active pharmaceutical ingredients. And we also have nearly 1,400 WHO GMP approved pharma plants, 253 European Directorate of Quality Medicines approved plants. So US, we are supplying to US, we are supplying to UK the best quality generic medicines. But there is a bit of a dilemma here, that if we are the world leaders, if we are supplying the best of the market world, and they are using manufactured by India, why is it that a huge chunk of our population is not having access to medicines, as reported by the World Health Organization in its World Medicine Situation Report? So there is some kind of dichotomy there which needs to be resolved, maybe because our people have been emphasizing on using branded medicines rather than generic medicines, and maybe somewhere there is some need for improvement in our quality assurance mechanism. major segments of pharmaceutical industry, which India is demanding, bulk drugs, vaccines, these segment, contract research and manufacturing, biosimilars and biologicals. And access to the affordable HIV treatment from India is also one of the greatest success stories in medicine. India, as you all know, is one of the biggest suppliers of low-cost vaccines in the world. But there is again this problem that there are catastrophic medical expenditures in low and middle income countries. The expenditures, 90% of the expenditure which we make on healthcare, it goes on out of pocket. That is, there is no insurance cover, and one has to spend from his pocket. This is as per WHO report of 2004. In India, this figure is around 80%. 80% of India's health financing is out of pocket. And the share that goes into medicines is 74%. 74% of the total money which is being spent on our healthcare, we have to spend out of pocket, which should come down to 20%. The global average is 20%, but our this percentage is 74%. And in developing countries, 11% of population suffers these kinds of impoverishments, catastrophes on account of expenditures on medicines and healthcare, and they suffer severe financial hardships every year. And 5% of this population is even forced into poverty. Now in India, the figure is around 3.2 to 5% of people are pushed below poverty line every year just because they could not make enough expenditures on their healthcare and medicines. They could not afford it, or they could not, they had to sell their borrowing, savings, income, or whatever they had left for the marriages of their children or the education of their children, or for building any house, etc. One has to shell it out when somebody suffers from the poor community. So that is because of that reason, 3.2 to 5% population is slipped into below poverty line every year because of the huge catastrophic expenditures on medical bills, on healthcare. But there are a lot of steps which the government of India has taken to overcome this phenomena, to overcome these catastrophic expenditures and impoverishments caused by the medical expenditures. The first and foremost step which the government of India took soon after independence was the drug price control regime. The drug price control order, which was brought in soon after the Chinese aggression in 1962. And then this drug price control order was modified, rectified, amended many times in 1962, in 1963, 1966, 70, 78, 79, 87, 1995, 2013, and very recently in 2015. There are some amendments which have taken place after 2013. And then we also brought in the first national list of essential medicines. This was formulated in the year 1996. And soon after that, the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority of India was constituted in the year 1997. So this was only to ensure that drugs are sold at the right prices and exorbitant pricing is not allowed. And the fixing of prices is regulated by the government. And then we had the national list of essential medicines of 2011, in which there were 348 drugs, and all these drugs which are there in the first Schedule 1 of the essential drugs list have been put into the scheduled formulations. That is, their prices are controlled by the government. Their prices are governed by the government. And very recently, the national list of essential medicines 2022 has been brought out only last month in September, which has 384 drugs into it. Now, for the sake of the information of the students, let me clarify that essential medicines list is the list of medicines by which you can cure, you can treat almost 90% of ailments. Then for the remaining 10%, you can have a supplementary list. But this essential list of 384 medicines is sufficient enough to cater to the needs of 90% of ailments and diseases. That's how we can conserve our resources. That's how we can conserve our expenditures on medicines. And in turn, we can benefit our patients who cannot afford medicines. So this national list of essential medicines has been modified by the government of India from time and time again. Way back in 1996, it had 279 medicines. In 2003, the number of medicines was increased to 354. In 2011, it had 348. And now we have NLEM of 2022, which has 384 medicines. Until then, there is this National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority of India, which does the capping of the formulations, which fixes the prices of scheduled drugs, which are there in the Schedule 1 of the Drugs and Drug Price Control Order. All the drugs that are listed in the National List of Essential Medicines are a part of the Schedule 1 of Drug Price Control Order, and therefore their prices have to be fixed by the government. And they have to fix a cap, they have to, ceiling price has to be fixed beyond which nobody can sell those drugs. So then there are 4 medical devices also in this list, which includes cardiac stents, drug-eluting stents, condoms, intrauterine devices, whose prices are fixed by the government. Now, there was a big change in this pricing regime in India in 2012, when new pharmaceutical pricing policy was brought out by the government of India. Prior to 2012, we had a cost-based pricing of pharmaceuticals, wherein the drug prices were fixed as per the actual cost on their packing material, raw material, packaging material, and MAP, maximum allowable post-marketing expenditure. On this basis, the cost of medicines was fixed till 2012. That is on the basis of actual cost on manufacturing a drug. But after 2012, this whole strategy changed, and now the prices are fixed on the basis of the market share of the medicine. What is the market share of the drug in the total market share? Is it, if it is more than 1%, first we calculate the average of all the brands of a particular drug, and then we fix the ceiling price. No new entrant can sell that particular drug more than the ceiling price, which has been fixed by the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority. This is only to ensure availability, accessibility, and affordability of medicines. And a huge number of drugs have been, ceiling prices have been fixed. But still, if some people are resorting to exorbitant selling of drugs, to overcharging of drugs, then there is, very recently, the government of India has constituted the price monitoring resource units. That is only to monitor the prices of the medicines in the market, because when we have shifted to market-based pricing, we are not going by the cost-based pricing now. We are going by the market-based pricing, based on the market share of a particular drug. So therefore, we need to monitor it constantly. And this is done by the price monitoring resource units, which have been constituted in around 24 states so far. And the main idea is that there should be no overcharging. The staff should go to the markets, pick samples, and see that the drugs are being sold at the fixed prices, and nobody is exceeding the ceiling price or the retail maximum retail price. And these price monitoring resource units are doing exceedingly well, and they are reporting to the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority of India. And that is one mechanism which has been brought in. But then there are other problems which our country is facing in our healthcare sector. Some of the issues concerning the India's healthcare sector are that we are spending very low on health. While as we spend around $100 per capita on healthcare, in developed countries, they spend around $400 per capita. And whereas we spend around 1% of our GDP on healthcare, in developed nations, they spend around 4 to 6% of their GDP on healthcare. So low government spending is one major concern. Unless the government spends lavishly on healthcare and makes it topmost priority, then the sufficient strides cannot be made. That is why Government of India is now spending huge amount on Ayushman Bharat Yojana, on Ayushman Bharat Infrastructure Building Yojana, on Jan Arogya and other national healthcare schemes. Around 6,400 crores are being spent on the infrastructure building projects under Ayushman Bharat. So that is one problem. Second problem is that high out-of-pocket expenditure, which I mentioned, that around 64 to 80% of the expenditures on healthcare has to be borne out of pocket by the people in India, which has to come down to 20%. That will come down to 20% only when there is universal healthcare, when there is insurance coverage of the people, and when there is when there is high financial risk protection. As of today, there is very low financial risk protection. What I mean by that is, if somebody suffers a problem like cancer or AIDS or any huge big problem, he has to go to a big hospital and spend lots of money in lakhs, and then only he will get cured. But there is not much insurance coverage of the population, though the scenario has drastically improved because of Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, but still a huge chunk is outside this. So this financial risk protection has to be enhanced. And low health insurance coverage is another problem, both in rural settings as well as in urban population. And then there is high wastage of the existing resources. See, when we are procuring drugs on branded names rather than procuring on generic names, we are wasting our resources, which can be conserved, and those resources can be spent on making drugs more affordable and available to our people who are living in the below poverty line. Then these are the various schemes of the government of India brought out to ensure universal health coverage. Earlier, we had the employee state insurance scheme, central government health scheme, Arogyashri in Andhra Pradesh, Chief Minister's comprehensive health insurance scheme in Tamil Nadu, Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana at national level, Aam Aadmi Bima Yojana in Delhi, Janashri Bima Yojana in Rajasthan, Universal Health Insurance Scheme, and now we have the flagship scheme of India, Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, which has been praised and which has been discussed in many important scientific journals of international repute, like Lancet and like the British Medical Journal. And the work done by the government of India has been commended and appreciated worldwide. That is, under this scheme, which covers 5 lakh, which gives an insurance cover of rupees 5 lakhs per family, and it is going to benefit around 50 crore beneficiaries have so far benefited from this scheme. This is the world's largest health insurance scheme, which is fully financed by the government. And Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana provides cashless access to healthcare services for the beneficiaries at the point of service, that is at the hospital itself. And there is complete online processing with robust IT platforms. It covers both pre-hospitalization and post-hospitalization expenditures. There is no restriction on the family size, age, or gender. Like earlier, we had the Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana. There was a cap on the family size, cap on gender and age, but there is no cap this time. All pre-existing conditions are covered right from day one. The scheme is portable across the country. That is, a beneficiary can visit any empaneled public or private hospital to avail the cashless treatment. The claim settlement is very rapid. Within 15 to 30 days, claims are settled. The fund allocated for the schemes for the financial year 21-22 are 6,400 crores. And more than 19 crore Ayushman cards have been made in the country, spanning its coverage in 33 states, and more than 24 crore Aadhaar numbers have been generated. More than 3.95 crore claims for over 45,000 crores have been processed so far, and more than 28,000 hospitals have been empaneled, which are 45% of which are private sector, and around 55% are in the government sector. As on July 2021, there were 77,000 these health and wellness centers which were operational across the country. So there are basically two components to this Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. One is the health insurance cover up to 5 lakhs per family. And then second is the building up of development and progression of the health and wellness centers. The target is to make it 1.5 lakh health and wellness centers throughout the country in the coming months. And so that the comprehensive primary, secondary, and tertiary care facilities could be made available to the people of India. Then there is another scheme, Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission, ABHIM. The main idea is to strengthen the public health infrastructure effectively and respond towards any COVID-19 like pandemic outbreak, so that we will have a good, comprehensive, robust infrastructure available, which will cater to the needs of the people in India, and also undertake surveillance, health research, both in rural and urban areas. And the total financial outlay for this scheme for the period 2021 to 2026 is 64,180 crores. So this is the amount of money which is being spent on this, out of which 54,000 crores are being spent for implementation of centrally sponsored scheme components, while as an amount of 9,339 crores are being spent for central sector components. And there are many components under this Ayushman Bharat Infrastructural Mission Scheme. One is for rural health and wellness centers, which supports construction of 70,000 sub-health centers, these health and wellness centers. Then second one is for urban health and wellness centers, around 11,000 of them, which will be built over a 5-year period. And then there are block public health units, And under this scheme, it is envisaged to establish 3,382 block public health units in all the blocks of 11 states. Then there are integrated public health laboratories in all 730 districts, which will be set up under the scheme to optimize the access to laboratory services, diagnostic services, quality assurance efforts, and cost effectiveness. Yes. Is there any question? And then there is the critical care hospital blocks, which intends to establish 602 critical care hospital blocks in all the districts with population more than 5 lakhs. So as you can see, there are these are the milestones which have been achieved under Ayushman Bharat Prime Minister Jan Arogya Yojana so far. This scheme was announced by the Prime Minister of India on September 23rd, 2018, and so far considerable progress has been made under this scheme. Another scheme is the Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana, Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana, under which 8,675 kendras have been made functional so far in 630 districts, and more than 490 crores are being used for this scheme for the period 2021. So government is investing a lot of money under this scheme, and the target is to open 10,500 kendras under this Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana all over the country, and medicines will be sold at these kendras. Those medicines are supplied by the Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices Bureau of India, which was earlier known as the Bureau of Pharma PSUs, BPPI, but now it has been rechristened as Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices Bureau of India. And rupees 3,200 crores have been allocated by the Government of India for this particular scheme. Now, I have mentioned the socialization of medicine in my title. So now I'll take the audience towards this particular aspect of my title, that is the socialization of medicine. Already India is making strides. The pharmacy colleges are coming up, pharmacy. So this particular area of pharmacy, it is conceived as a part of socio-environmental, so biosocial-psychological, and because the drug use has psychosocial implications, these environmental implications, and there are economical aspects, social aspects concerning drug usage, concerning affordability and access to medicines. That's why this aspect is covered in the social and behavioral pharmacy, and this has led to the new field of social pharmacy or social medicine. Social medicine is based on the premise that when a person suffers from a disease, the suffering is not only due to the pathogens, but also due to social causes. There are many consequences of disease which are not entirely physical, but some of the consequences are due to social reasons too. So therefore, there is need for comprehensive therapies which will address these social problems also. So we need social remedies also apart from the medical remedies, and social services are also required apart from the medical care. That's how the social medicine seeks to understand how social and economic conditions will impact the health, disease, and the practice of medicine. And it is out of this social medicine where from the socialized medicine concept has emerged. Socialized medicine is a system of healthcare which includes medical and hospital care at nominal costs by means of government regulations of healthcare, taxation. So mainly the government is investing into the healthcare, which gets money from the taxation, and people do not have I'm sorry, I think I had got disconnected briefly, so I will connect you back. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right. And the slide is visible?
Yes. Now.
Right. Thank you, sir. So socializing, that brings me to the, so how much more time can I consume? Can you please let me know?
Yeah. Shilpa madam, you're keeping the time, yes?
Yes, sir. Yes. It is 45 minutes, sir. You are having another 15 minutes. Maybe you can go ahead.
Okay, sir. 15 minutes, 17 minutes.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. So that brings me to the idea of socialization of medicine. Socialization of medicine is about making medicines easily available, affordable, and accessible to all sections of the society, irrespective of their caste, creed, color, religion, or even their paying capacity, without making the people suffer impoverishment on account of any expenditures borne on healthcare. So socialization of medicine is also, it is similar to universal health coverage through insurance component, but may not be always present in case of the former. That is, the insurance coverage may not always be present in case of socialization, but insurance coverage is always present in case of universal health coverage. And therefore, socialization of medicine can include a whole lot of measures of reducing the prices of medicines or simplifying their supply chain mechanisms, minimizing the number of intermediaries so that the profit component is reduced, purchasing in bulk so that the resources could be conserved and utilized for the making accessibility more, and purchasing on generic names directly from the manufacturers, and financing the medicine related expenditures through social security schemes. So when we think about socialization of medicine, then we are taking health as a means of empowering people and as a means of social security, as a means of social justice. It is not only treating an illness through medical care, through drugs, pharmaceuticals, but it is also to ensure social security, social solidarity, social justice among the society by making drugs equally affordable, equitable. So this here we are taking into consideration the social determinants of health, the social determinants of equity when we talk about the socialization of medicine. Because medicines are a public good and a social enterprise. Therefore, provision of public good is inevitably socialized. That is, it is not a privilege of only the elite class of the society to have good medical care, to have good health care. It is an infallible right of all the peoples of that community to have equal access to the healthcare. So it's a public good. It's not a private good. It's not a club good. It is a public good. Therefore, the social determinants of health and equity are very important in order to improve the health outcomes, in order to eliminate disparities in health. And it also eliminates the unhealthy competition among the doctors. See, doctors don't have to vouch for the patients, don't have to grab the patients, and don't have to resort to any profiteering. So therefore, because most of the healthcare is being provided by the government and on the basis of taxations received from the people. So as has been written in the popular book by Park on preventive and social medicine, socialization is a noble idea. It eliminates the competition among physicians. It ensures social equity through universal health coverage, and medical care becomes free for the patient. It is supported by the state, and varying degrees of social control over medicine will result into variety of health systems. So it is now a recognized fact that mere socialization was not sufficient to ensure utilization. Then there is another concept of nationalization of medicine, which has been achieved in UK by National Health Services in 1948. Way back in 1948, it has been already achieved, wherein all the hospitals are being governed by the government, owned by the government, whether it is the hospitals in the primary, secondary, or tertiary care, whether they are the nursing homes, ancillary health work centers, everything is owned by the government. And then, but you don't have the choice of picking up a particular doctor or picking up a particular hospital. But one thing is ensured that you will get the healthcare free of cost and without spending out of pocket. So these are the countries in this graph. You can see there are some countries in green, wherein free and universal healthcare coverage is there. There are one country is there in light green, where only universal healthcare is there. And there are other countries in blue. India also falls in this category, where there is free but not universal healthcare. And then there are some countries in red, where there is neither free nor universal healthcare. So we need to make this difference between these. What is free healthcare? What is universal healthcare? What is nationalized healthcare? And what is socialized healthcare? So I invite the students present in this group to study more about these concepts, to look into these and make themselves clear. What is the difference between these? So, but here my concern is how India has been utilizing this in enhancing the access to medicines. India brought out the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Policy in 2012, wherein the major shift was made from cost-based pricing to the market share-based pricing, market-based pricing. in order to ensure that there is control over prices of medicines, and in order to remove the barriers to access to medicine. So the barriers are low government spending per capita, the barriers are out-of-pocket expenditures, barriers are low financial risk protection, barriers are low health insurance in rural and urban sectors. The Government of India is working on these issues so as to make universal health coverage a reality. What is universal health coverage? It is a concept in which everyone will get access to the health services which they need without suffering any financial ruin or impoverishment. This was the Alma-Ata, this was the soul of Alma-Ata Declaration in 1978. And this cube, the universal health coverage cube, will tell you what are the dimensions of universal health coverage. It has 3 dimensions. The population, percentage of population that has to be covered by an insurance, health insurance scheme, the number of services that have to be covered, and the number of costs which can be borne by the government. See, it is not practically possible for any government in the world, no matter how developed the country is, no matter how rich and affluent the country is, it is not practically possible for any government to cover the entire 100% population, with provide all the services to them and bear all the costs which are incurred on this. So they have to do some trade-offs. They have to select a proper mix of the population, a proper mix of the services that can be offered, and the proportion of costs that can be borne by the government. But for this to happen, first they have to centralize all the pooled funds at one place. All the funds which they have for healthcare, for medicines, that has to be pooled centrally, and then they can think which services to provide, what percentage of population to cover, and how much percentage of cost we can bear, the government can bear on account of healthcare. And in order to ensure this universal health coverage, first step is we have to establish a vision. Then we have to undertake a situation analysis, see what is the situation on the ground, what are the gaps, challenges, what are the prospects and perspectives. Then we have to do a financial assessment and see what are the constraints, financial constraints, what are the other constraints. Accordingly, we can devise a strategy for change, which we can implement in due course of time. And while the policy is being implemented, it has to be continuously monitored and evaluated. And if there are any alterations, modifications to be done, that can be done, and this whole cycle will be rerun once again. So here I need not tell you about the exorbitant pricing by pharmaceutical corporates. For example, trastuzumab was sold on $54,000, the drug used in breast cancer, stomach cancer. Similarly, imatinib, the oral chemotherapy for CML and ALL, was being sold on $92,000. And this beta crystalline version of imatinib was sold by Gleevec for $2,200. These are some of the examples of exorbitant pricing by pharmaceutical corporates. For example, sorafenib, a drug used for liver cancer, was being sold for $96,000, while as Natco Pharma, Indian generic drug manufacturing company, sold it only for $2,800 after the compulsory licensing provision was. This exorbitant pricing has to be controlled, and the socialization of medicine has to be ensured. Similarly, there was another drug, bedaquiline, which was developed in 2011. After 30 years, a new drug for multi-drug resistant tuberculosis had been developed, but it was being priced at $30,000, which is not affordable for anybody in India. Another drug for hepatitis C, sofosbuvir, was being priced at $84,000, $1,000 per tablet. So again, while as its actual production cost was only $136, a drug which could be manufactured for only $136 was being sold at $84,000. The drug name was sofosbuvir by Gilead Pharmaceuticals, which was meant for hepatitis C. So in order to control this exorbitant pricing, overcharging, profiteering of these pharmaceuticals by the corporates, the government has invoked compulsory licensing provision at certain occasions and has brought in essential legal reforms in the pharmaceutical pricing policy, and thereby it has ensured socialization of medicine. So towards the end of my this talk, I would like to draw your kind attention towards some of my articles which I have published in the local print media on socialization of medicine, on how to ensure health and equity, on how to accomplish the task of the universal health coverage. What are the issues? What are the concerns? What are the problems and constraints in this path? And how we can achieve maximum accessibility, availability, and affordability of drugs. And the steps, the already Government of India has sealed, has fixed the ceiling prices of 890 formulations and has fixed the retail prices of 2023 these formulations. Besides, has opened around 24 price monitoring resource units in the country, and many more are likely to come up in near future. These are some of the measures which have been taken by the Government of India. The ceiling prices of 890 scheduled formulations have been fixed, and the retail prices of non-scheduled formulations have also been fixed. The ceiling prices of 56 new drugs have been fixed by the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority of India. Ceiling prices of 106 cardiovascular stents, which were earlier selling for lakhs of rupees, are now selling either for 30,000 rupees or 77,000 rupees, depending upon whether they are drug-eluting or non-drug eluting. Then the prices of 42 cancer medicines have been slashed, which cover 526 brands, and that has caused 90% saving to the patients. More than 151 Amrit stores have been opened in India, which are selling 5,200 drugs at 60% less cost. And the similar strides have been made in J&K, my own home state, wherein 123 PMJAY Kendras have been opened, 96 lakh golden cards have been issued under Ayushman Bharat Yojana. And this 6 lakh, we see, I don't know whether it is prevalent in other states or not, but in J&K, even people below living above the poverty line can enjoy the benefits of Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana under Sehat scheme. So I have done some of the studies on access to medicine along with my team of students, and we have worked on the access to medicines, prices, and affordability related issues on maternal, reproductive maternal child healthcare components and other components. And that is all I have to say at this occasion. I wholeheartedly thank the organizers for inviting me. I pay my regards and good wishes to Professor Atul Nasa, Professor Nasa sir, who has probably joined us. And many thanks to the organizers, especially Dr. Rakesh Somani sir. In case there are any questions, I'll be happy to take. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, sir, for a very excellent presentation. And thank you very much for enriching us about the need, concept, and extent of the socialization of the medicines, and also about the novel healthcare schemes in India. As you quoted very correctly, sir, access to medicine is really the right to health, and we all should strive to extend this right not only in India, but also worldwide. Here, participants, if anyone is having any question, kindly put your questions in the chat box. As it is told already.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, let me first of all put on records that it was a really great presentation. Lots of information we got. We used to read from the literature, from the newspaper about different schemes, but the way it was presented, thank you so much for that. Only small question is, in this great changing scenario of healthcare system in India, with reference to Ayushman Bharat and etc. Somehow I could not notice if government has also given some due importance to pharmacists, recruitment of pharmacists or some kind of establishment created for pharmacists. Can you please throw some light on that?
Yes, there have been a lot of initiatives and steps and measures taken. For example, through CDSCO, and government has been working hard to empower the pharmacists, to train them, to do their professional development, to do their personality development. And there is the government has entrusted this job to various concerned government bodies like Pharmacy Council of India, which is revising the curriculum. Recently, we had the new education regulations, and we had the pharmacy practice regulations. Then we had the pharmaceutical care, units, and it is being made mandatory that the hospitals should have the clinical pharmacy departments, community pharmacy departments, and then the pharmacy colleges are doing a fabulous job in terms of empowering the pharmacists. Yes, there is scope for more, which the government needs to do. Of course, there is scope. That is, every day a hospital does not have a clinical pharmacy department. Every hospital does not have a pharmaceutical care activity being implemented, as was mentioned by Ananta Nayak Nagappa sir at the very outset. That still in some areas the clinical pharmacy is in infancy in India, and not much is being contributed by the pharmacists. They are not fully empowered. But then the pharmacists have to upgrade their skills, competencies, and they have to carve a niche for themselves and establish themselves as a part of the medical healthcare team. But yes, of course, in the state governments, UT governments, as well as the central government, I think needs to take many more steps to empower the pharmacists and to give them a greater role. But there are certain schemes wherein pharmacists are enjoying a bigger role. For example, the RNTCP, the tuberculosis program. There are certain schemes here and there, but on the whole, it is still the pharmacist is not being recognized that completely comprehensively. It has not achieved the status and the position which it actually deserves. I fully agree with that.
Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
yeah. Sir, here even I have a question to ask.
Yes, please.
If you permit.
Yes, please.
Sir, as we are there as a member of the expert committee on the antibiotic utilization under the National Drug Utilization Evaluation Program, I just wanted to know that what are the measures the government is taking, or are there any measures wherein, like, they are monitoring the health? Means why there is not e-health system implemented in India, or the digital health card for the patients? Because sometimes they live in one city, they might they will take one course of the antibiotic. Subsequently, within a very short span, they will go to another city with some or other reason, or maybe in the same city, they will go to other physician. And there, because not knowing the previous history, the physician can again recommend some antibiotics under the same category, which wouldn't be very correct. So
right,
what we can do?
Very important. Yes, very important question marks, Dr. Shilpa ma'am. In fact, coincidentally, the Pharmacy Week celebration is running parallel to the Antimicrobial Resistance Week awareness. This is also being celebrated as an awareness for antimicrobial resistance. And there is a lot which needs to be done in enhancing awareness about the antimicrobial resistance, because it has been estimated that by the year 2030, there may be 1 million deaths because of antimicrobial resistance. And the situation is becoming more grim and grave, because many antibiotics are losing their effectiveness, and their microbes are becoming increasingly resistant, which is making it very hard for the doctors to treat their patients. So yes, antimicrobial resistance is a big issue, and the pharmacists do a lot in this area, because there is a lot of scope for enhancing the awareness, increasing the awareness among common people about the use of antimicrobials, about the judicious use of antimicrobials. Actually, there we should emphasize on the judicious use of all the medicines, not only antimicrobials. In personal humble opinion, we people not to use too many medicines. But when it comes to antimicrobials, antibiotics, especially, we have to be careful and guarded not to use them ruthlessly, not to use them inappropriately, because the resistance is becoming a grave challenge. And there is a national level, this task force is there to control this. Government of India has constituted a national level committee, a task force, to devise guidelines to prepare hospital antibiotic policies at the hospital level, to prepare antibiotic policies, antimicrobial policies at the state level, UT level, and then at the national level. So task forces have been framed at state as well as the national level, which are in the process of framing guidelines. But implementation is somewhere missing to the fullest extent. That is, though we have policies on paper, we have documented the guidelines, but the guidelines need to be implemented well. And we need to conduct culture tests before prescribing the antibiotics. Every doctor has to get the proper culture tests done, the culture sensitivity tests. So I'm sure in his lecture, Nasaji will spend more time on this, because he's going to talk about the role of pharmacist in healthcare. So I'm sure he will be covering the antimicrobial part also, as also the question asked by the Dr. Rakesh Sumani sir, how the pharmacist stature and role responsibility can be improved in days to come. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for being here and guiding us and sharing your expertise with us.
Thank you.
Now,
many thanks to all.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Now it is a time for our second session by Dr. Atul Kumar Nasa sir on the topic role of pharmacist in the healthcare. I request Ms. Shefali to share presentation of NASA sir. In the meantime, I request Dr. Rupesh Gautam, Core Committee member of WRC ACPI and Professor and Head of the Department of Pharmacology at the Indore Institute of Pharmacy to introduce NASA sir. Over to you.
Thank you so
Rupesh, sir.
much, Shilpa ma'am. Dr. Atul Nasser sir has worked as the Head of Office, Controlling and Licensing Authority and Deputy Drug Controller with Drugs and Control Department, Government of NCT of Delhi, and he is member of various committees constituted by the government of framing and designing different policies. He has more than 37 years professional experience, including 30 years experience in the enforcement of Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940 and rules made there under Drugs Order 2013, Drugs and Magic Remedies Act 1954 and Medical Devices Rules 2017. He is a member of Drug Consultative Committee and other committees of Government of India constituted from time to time. Dr. Nasa is a member of Central Council of Pharmacy Council of India. Recently, in the month of August 2019, Dr. Nasa was elected as an Executive Committee member of PCI. Dr. Nasa is a life member of IPGA, IPA, APTI, etc. And he is a member of FIP, International Pharmaceutical Federation. Dr. Nasa has attended various national and international conferences, including FIP 2013 in Dublin, FIP 2018 Glasgow, 2019 at Abu Dhabi. In the December 2017, Dr. Nasa was awarded Best Drug Controller Office Award from All India Drugs Control Officer Confederation in appreciation of his meritorious services in the Drug Control Administration, and also Fellowship of Indian Pharmaceutical Association for his distinguished and dedicated services in the profession of pharmacy. Dr. Nasa has been honored with prestigious K.C. Chatterjee Memorial Award 2015 and also IPGA Professional Excellence Award 2015. He is the recipient of Best Alumni Award by Delhi Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research, New Delhi, and he was also awarded Best Drugs Inspector Award 2001 at Mumbai by All India Drugs Control Officers Confederation. He was awarded the Outstanding Young Professional Achievement Award 2003 during the 20th Annual Conference of IPGA held at Chandigarh. The Regulatory Person of the Year Award 2019 by 54th IPC Welfare Trust Pune has also been bestowed on him for his outstanding and sincere contribution to the Drugs Control Organization. Dr. Nasa has worked for the upliftment of pharmacy profession in the entire field at professional and academic level. Over to Shilpa ma'am.
एक मिनट उसको भेजना जिसने
Yes,
set
sir.
किया था।
Welcome, NASA sir, and over to you for presentation. Ms.
Just
Shefali,
one.
can you share the presentation of NASA sir? Yeah.
Presentation is shared. Hope it is visible. Sir?
Just 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Just
Yes,
1
sir.
minute. Just 1 minute.
Yes.
दीपक भेजना उसको एक मिनट देखना something wrong.
कोई बात नहीं सर, अगेन ज्वाइन कर लेते हैं। जॉन सबको ये कैसे हो गया सर?
पता नहीं अचानक कैसे हो गया।
अचानक से हो गया है?
Sir, you are visible and voice is also good.
I'm coming.
Is it okay? I am visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I am audible also?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. At the outset, my special thanks and congratulations to Association of Community Pharmacists of India, the Western Regional Center, for inviting me to this webinar on the occasion of 61st National Pharmacy Week. And my thanks to Dr. Rupesh, Dr. Somani, and everyone for giving me this chance to deliver a talk on healthcare system. My introduction has already been given by Dr. Rupesh. Thank you very much, Dr. Rupesh.
Thank you so much.
And I will not take much time, and I'm extremely very sorry because I came to NIMS University at Rajasthan. So some conference is still going on and the conference was delayed. So that's why I'm sorry that I'm joining this session very late. Extremely sorry for that.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So can you help me for changing the slides? 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, a general, everybody knows health is wealth. Healthcare is both a service and an industry. It needs to be regulated so that government requirements are properly enforced. My introduction, that my 30 years experience in drug control department as a regulator, right, as a drug inspector, then assistant drug controller, then deputy drug controller, then head of the office. It was a tough and challenging job, but at the end of the day, it was a successful journey. Simply, I can say. And what we have seen during the pandemic time, entire world has faced pandemic, COVID-19. And we have seen the first wave, we have seen the second wave, and out of all the waves, the critical condition was the second wave. When there was a lot of issues relating to supply of remdesivir injections, supply of tocilizumab injections, then black fungus, mucormycosis, amphotericin B, and issue related to oxygen, issue related to hydroxychloroquine, and all life-saving, COVID management drugs. But my thanks to all the pharmacists worked in the pharmaceutical industry, in quality control department, in research and development sections, in manufacturing, in hospital pharmacy, in community pharmacy, in clinical pharmacy, in regulations, in academics. Everybody worked very hard. And pharmacists played a very vital role during the pandemic time. I salute to all the pharmacists. This is what is required from a pharmacy profession. Yeah, this is not changing. 1 minute. Yeah. So what is public health? Protecting and improving health, promoting healthy lifestyle, researching disease and injury prevention, detecting, preventing, and responding to infectious disease, protecting health to entire populations, and promoting healthcare equity, quality, and accessibility. Here I will discuss, I was just listening to the presentation of my earlier speaker. He was talking about, antimicrobial resistance, misuse of antibiotics, self-medication, healthy lifestyle. All these are the challenges. I simply tell you an example. During the COVID time, a prescription was floating on WhatsApp group where it was a combination of azithromycin, tablet ivermectin, tablet Ginkgovit, and then Dolo 650. I think everybody was using same prescription, and in the entire country, this prescription was on the WhatsApp group that at least if you are suffering from COVID, you take all these 4 medicines. I fully agree. But question comes, why azithromycin? It is an antibiotic. Until and unless you are not suffering from throat infection or some, other infection, antibiotic is not required. Similarly, in the first wave, when the hydroxychloroquine SCQS tablet was, a statement came by ICMR, the WHO, that it can be used as a prophylactic treatment, hydroxychloroquine. Everybody started taking, hydroxychloroquine. Ki hum to bach jaye. And there was the acute shortage of hydroxychloroquine at that time during the first wave. It is a Schedule H medicine. Self-medication is to be avoided. Later on, once the government has seen that there is a huge demand of, hydroxychloroquine and people are using as a self-medication, so they converted this Schedule H category to Schedule H1. Schedule H1 category is a category which contains 3 categories of medicines: anti-tuberculosis drugs, latest generation antibiotics, and habit-forming drugs, where a pharmacy has to maintain a proper register by entering the name of the doctor, name of the patient, his contact number, quantity of the medicine supplied, and so on. So system was changing like that. This is the presentation regarding, clinical professionals. I always say, apart from doctor, apart from the nurses, apart from the NGO, it is a pharmacist. Pharmacists play a carbon-carbon double bond role between the physician and the patient. 3 P's are important: physician, pharmacist, and patient. But these NGOs are also playing a very important role. At our drug control level, at our regulatory level, with the help of the various NGOs, with the help of the various consumer associations, we organize so many programs for the consumers, what they have to do, what they have not to do. Simple example here I quote, that while taking a medicine, while purchasing a medicine from the pharmacy, 90% of our patients, 90% of our consumers never insist for a cash memo. The person or the cash memo is only requested by a person or a patient or a consumer who has to take his reimbursement from his department, or simply from a person who has to go for a mediclaim. Otherwise, 90% consumer never insists for a cash memo. And as a pharmacist, as a consumer, we have to guide each and everyone that at least while purchasing a cash memo, while purchasing a medicine, you take a cash memo from the counter. It will protect you from 4 issues. Number 1, there will not be any overcharging. Number 2, there will not be any expired drug selling. Number 3, the physician sample, hospital supply medicines cannot be sold because he is issuing a cash memo. And at the end of the day, if any reaction goes with the medicine, something wrong goes with the medicine, the pharmacy or the chemist cannot say that I have not sold these medicines. We go to, all Kirana shops, we go to all grocery shops. Whenever we purchase any grocery, even ice cream, always bill is issued. But why not medicines? This issue is to be taken care. So these are some of the, key functions. Safe food and, water. I will not discuss in detail. Helping people to avoid leading cause of death, heart disease, stroke, diabetics, and cancer. We were talking about lifestyle diseases. Now, if data has come that most of the young generation or the population is suffering from all these diseases. Hypertension is on rise, diabetic is on rise, cancer is on rise. So all these lifestyle diseases are to be taken care, and as a pharmacist, we have to play a very important role in educating each and everyone. Then we have seen the corona, and more important is the drug addiction. Say no to drugs. Drug addiction is on rise. Young generation are taking the codeine preparations like Corex, Fencidil, etc. without the prescription of a doctor. This leads to the drug addictions. Hypnotics, sedatives, painkillers, they are also widely misused for, by the young generation, and this leads to drug addiction. So we have to understand that as a pharmacist, we have to play an important role in preventing the drug addiction, for COVID management drugs, for diabetics, for hypertension, for cancers. All these are the related issues. So why regulation? Why regulation is required? Now regulation is primarily required for enabling patient access to high quality, safe. I am audible?
Yes, sir. Please,
Hello?
others, please mute yourself. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Why regulation is required? Regulation is primarily required for enabling patient access to high quality, safe and effective medicines, medical devices, cosmetics, etc., avoiding access to products that are unsafe to the public, and it ensures public health benefit and the safety to the patients, healthcare workers, and to the community. So this is all about our, regulations. We have got under, Drug Control Department different acts to enforce. One is the Drugs and Cosmetic Act. Second is the, Drug and Magic Remedies Act. Other is the Drug Price Control Orders. Next is the Medical Devices Rule 2017, which are effective from January 2018. And now we are having the Cosmetics Rule 2020. So it totally, regulate, manufacture, import, clinical trials, sale, and distribution of all drugs and related products, including medical devices. So this is the mission of the, Drug Control Department. Any drug control department working in the country, whether it is Central Drug Control Department or it is a State Drug Control Department, the main mission of the Drug Control Department is to ensure safe, efficacious, and quality medicines, devices, and cosmetics to the consumers at affordable prices. It includes drugs, biologicals, medical devices, cosmetics, veterinary drugs, and then clinical trials, conduction of clinical trials. And during this, COVID time, we have seen that fast track approval was given for the Covaxin and Covishield. Entire world was looking after the country, India, that we want some vaccine for the, COVID. And thanks to our government, thanks to Bharat Biotech, thanks to Serum Institute of India, that they developed these two vaccines, Covaxin and Covishield, which protected each and every citizen of the country for first dose, second dose, and booster dose. This is regulatory importance. I will not go in detail. This is the procedure, approval process, chemistry, manufacturing and controls, documentations, concepts of innovator and generic drugs, drug development process, filing application for approval, dossiers preparations, post-approval regulatory requirements, clinical trial requirements, approval for conducting clinical trials, and pharmacovigilance, that is ADR monitoring. Apart from the Drug and Cosmetic Act, since it has been told that I am the Executive Council member of Pharmacy Council of India. Now in education system also, we have got Pharmacy Act 1948 and Pharmacy Council of India is there, which is working under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And under this Pharmacy Council of India, we have got State Pharmacy Council, and then we have got Central Executive Council member and Executive Council members, and then we have got ex officio members, President and Vice President. So this is just a organogram of Pharmacy Council of India, which is governing the pharmacy education in our country. This is our CDSCO, Central Drug Control Department, and under the CDSCO, what I have earlier told, that we are governing, we are regulating Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 and Rules 1945, Medical Devices Rule 2017, New Drug and Clinical Trial Rules 2019, Cosmetics Rule 2020, Drug and Magic Remedies Objectionable Advertisement Act 1954, and Narcotic Drug and Psychotropic Substances. And apart from that, we have got, apart from CDSCO, we have got State Drug Control Department. In our country, we have got 29 states and 8 union territories, and each and every state and each and every union territory is having their own state drug control department, which is being headed by a state drug controller. Apart from that, under the Drug and Cosmetic Act, we have got advisory committee that is called Drug Consultative Committee, Drug Technical Advisory Board. We have got analytical departments, government analysts working with the laboratories. We have got Central Drug Laboratory. We have got state drug testing laboratories, which is which are involved in testing of all drugs and pharmaceuticals, including the cosmetics items and surgical items. And then in the executive, we have got controlling authority, we have got licensing authority, and we have got drugs inspector. This is the organogram of all drug control departments. So here it is not Department of Pharmaceuticals. Now, whatever the medicines we are taking, which we are, which are coming to the market, there is one National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, NPPA, and Drug Price Control Order 2013 is well in force. And apart from that, we have got NIPERS, that is National Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research. And then Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Yojana, that is for generic medicines. And then we have got Pharmaxials. And then we have got government manufacturing units like IDPL, HAL, KAPL, and RDPL. This is CDSU functions. Now, see, there is a difference between the functions which are being governed by the Central Drug Control Department and State Drug Control Department. Now, any approval of new drugs and conduct of clinical trials is governed by central government, CDSCO. Import registration and licensing and quality testing of imported drugs and vaccines, again done by CDSCO. But licensing of blood banks. Now, licensing of blood banks is a dual licensing. It is both by the State Drug Control Department and Central Drug Control Department. So whenever any license is being granted, a joint inspection is done by the officers of State Drug Control Department and Central Drug Control Department. Amendment to Drug and Cosmetic Act and rules. So any act, any amendment, see, Drug and Cosmetic Act was made long back in 1940, rules in 1945. But from time to time, whenever it is required, there is an amendment in the Drug and Cosmetic Act, which is being consulted by the Drug Consultative Committee, and finally it goes to the Drug Technical Advisory Board. Banning of drugs and cosmetics, grant of test license, personal license, NOCs for export, testing of new drugs and medical devices, and ADR monitoring through pharmacovigilance program. This is all the functions of Central Drug Control Department. The functions of State Drug Control Department: licensing of manufacturing site for drugs, including APIs and finished formulations, licensing of establishment for sale and distribution of drugs, approval of drug testing laboratories, monitoring of quality of drugs, medical devices, and cosmetics marketed in the country by way of lifting the samples, investigation and prosecution in respect of contravention of legal provisions, and recall of all substandard drugs which are available in the market. This is an important slide. Now, as I have told in my previous slide, the main mission of a drug control department is to ensure the availability of safe, efficacious, and quality medicines. So how we can ensure the availability of quality medicines? By lifting the samples. We know what are the misbranded drugs. We know what are the spurious drugs. We know what are the adulterated drugs, which all are well defined under Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 and Rules 1945. So, while ensuring the quality of drugs, it is a duty of an officer from Drug Control Department to have regular sampling from the field, from the hospitals, from the pharmacies, from the manufacturing units, and on the basis of routine sampling, on the basis of the complaint sampling. And the procedure is well defined under Section 23 of the Drugs and Cosmetic Act. Now, here system says, whenever any officer is lifting the sample for drug or cosmetics, the four portions are being taken. So if an officer visit a pharmacy or a chemist shop or any of the a distributor or a retailer or a wholesaler, they lift 4 sample portions. They seal 4 sample portions. One portion is being sent to the government analyst for testing. Second portion is being handed over to the person from where the sample has been drawn. And third portion and fourth portion are being retained by the officer of drug control department. Now, in case sample passes the test, chapter closes. But in case the sample does not pass the test, sample is failed, it is declared as substandard quality, then third portion is being handed over to the person from whom the retailer or a distributor has purchased the medicines. And it is the prerogative of that person that he can challenge the report of the government analyst in the court of law within 28 days from the receipt of sample. And the fourth portion, which is lying with the drug inspector or drug control officer, is sent for retesting to the appellate laboratory that is called Central Drug Laboratory for the retesting purpose. And the report of the CDL is always conclusive. So nobody can challenge the report of CDL. So this is how under Drug and Cosmetic Act, the samples are drawn from the hospitals, from the pharmacies, from the retailer, from the distributor. But from the manufacturing unit, only 3 samples are drawn, not 4 portions. So this is something about pharmacovigilance. I will not go in detail the pharmacovigilance, but this is I have given in my presentation that in 2010, 2012 and 2015, how the pharmacovigilance programs are being carried out. And this is Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission at Ghaziabad, which is conducting the pharmacovigilance program in our country. This is what I wanted to discuss. I started my presentation from pandemic time. The regulatory department played a very important role. There was an acute shortage of life-saving drugs. There was an issue related to the import of active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, and raw material from China, because at the time of pandemic, China stopped import of all APIs and raw material from the China, and our totally pharmaceutical industry was on a standstill because most of the APIs were being imported from China. The message given by our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, pandemic ने हमने बहुत कुछ सिखाया कि we should not depend on the other countries. So today we are strong enough that now our pharmaceutical industry, particularly the API industry, is well strong enough that we are not dependent on the import of any APIs from the China, and our most of the pharmaceutical industry, which is based at Andhra Pradesh, that is Hyderabad, is strong enough that we are manufacturing all APIs at a top level. Even during COVID time, the government of India has given the fast-track approval to manufacture the Covaxin and Covishield, which I have already discussed earlier. It was just 8 month times, and with the support of ICMR, with the support of WHO, with the support of all state drug control department, this fast-track approval was given to manufacture Covishield and Covaxin, manufactured by Serum Institute of India and Messrs. Bharat Biotech. Issue is, pandemic is not over. Pandemic is not over. Still, we have seen that the cases are coming. But as a pharmacist, we have to see that we should guide each and everyone. Healthcare is very important. Health is wealth. So we should not see. I have recently visited New Zealand and I have seen pharmacists are better placed than a doctor. Doctor prescribe medicines, prescriptions are there. But once he has written a prescription, it comes to a pharmacist. And pharmacist is the only person, he checks whether the medicines which are prescribed by a registered medical practitioner or by a doctor are well required or not. So this is the role of pharmacist. So the pharmacist has to play an important role in preventing self-medication. Pharmacist has to play an important role in avoiding the drug addiction. Pharmacist has to play an important role in preventing antimicrobial resistance. Pharmacist has to play an important role in preventing self-medication, and pharmacist has to play an important role in entire healthcare system. They are the total, professionals in the healthcare system, and they are playing a very important role. So I think this is my last presentation, last slide. And thank you very much. And again, I'm very sorry because I am at NIMS University. My other session is there at, around at 4:40, 4:45. But thank you very much to Dr. Rupesh, to Dr. Somani, to the Association of Community Pharmacists of India for giving me this opportunity. But definitely, I will prefer some physical, interaction once any such invitation is there, because there is a lot of difference between your virtual presentation and physical interactions. So thank you very much, and my best wishes to each and everyone.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
sir.
joining. Yeah, ma'am, take it further.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, sir, for briefing us mainly regarding the regulations, maintaining the quality of the drugs, and also about the essential role of the pharmacist in maintaining the health throughout the country. And in addition, really thankful to spare some time for us through your busy schedule. You're so busy today, but still you made it to keep the commitment and deliver a lecture over here in our session.
Thank you very much.
Sir, on behalf of all of us.
Thank you. So can I leave because I have got some other presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
We will
Any
connect
questions?
sometimes.
Any questions? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sir,
Quickly, madam, any questions?
Sir, as of now, at least cannot see, and neither I had invited because sir was in hurry. If there is anything, sir, I'll mail it to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank
Thank
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, take it further.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Here, participants, the time for our last part of the session. So participants, I'm happy here to mention that as a part of the NPW Celebrations 2022, WRC SCPI had organized an e-poster competition on the theme Pharmacy of the World, India. And over here, all our core committee members had worked hard for the execution of this competition. And as a result of which, we got enormous response for the same. Initially, we had thought that we'll be giving 3 prizes, but looking at the posters and the response, we added 2 consolation prizes as well. And here I should say thank you to Sagar Kulkarni sir, the pharmacist from the Mumbai region, community pharmacist from the Mumbai region, for evaluating the posters, which made us easy to find out the final prize winners. And here also I want to thank our Goa State co-coordinators, Mr. Mahendra Naik and Mr. Arun Kuryalkar sir, for helping in smooth conduct of this particular competition. Now coming here you can see the flyer which was circulated for submission of the posters, through which we got the entries. And now coming to the winners, the first prize goes to Miss Sindhavi Mapari, the hospital pharmacist from the Goa Medical College. Look, have a glimpse of the poster what she has submitted. Second prize goes to Ms. Shweta Naik, the hospital pharmacist from the Marmagua Port Authority Hospital of Goa. This is a poster what she has submitted. Look at the creativity and the time whatever they have invested in making the posters. The third prize goes to Ms. Nikita Verekar, the hospital pharmacist from ESIC Goa. The fourth prize, the consolation prizes, goes to Ms. Riya Naik, the hospital pharmacist from the Goa Medical College, Bambolim, and also to Mr. Ankit Majje from Jharkhand. So this is from Mr. Ankit Majje. And this is from Ms. Riya Naik. So congratulations to all the winners, and your prizes and certificates will be emailed to you. Here, coming to the end of our session, I request the core committee member and the faculty of D.Y. Patil School of Pharmacy, Navi Mumbai,
Dr.
Ms. Shefali Thakkar, Ms. Dr. Shefali Thakkar, to propose the vote of thanks And simultaneously, I request all the participants to kindly fill the feedback form through the link which has been shared in the chat box. Ms. Shefali, over to you.
Yeah, ma'am. A very good afternoon to one and all. I am Dr. Shefali Thakkar, newly inducted member of WRC ACPI. It is an honor for me to propose a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries on behalf of D.Y. Patil University School of Pharmacy and WRC ACPI. I extend my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. I extend my gratitude to our chief guest, Dr. Atul Kumar Nasa, and our guest of honor, Professor Mohammad Ishaq Gir, who took out time from their busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you for your inspiring words and to encourage us with your work on this special day. A special thanks to our patron, Dr. Annatha Nagappa Sir, National President ACPI, Convener, Dr. Rakesh Somani, President WRC ACPI, our coordinator, Dr. Shilpa Bhilegaonkar, for encouraging us to celebrate NPW, that is the National Pharmacy Week. I would like to thank all the moderators for handling all the session. I must thank the organizing team comprising of Dr. Rahul Garg, Mr. Aditya Guge, Mr. Atul Kadam, Mr. Sagar Kulkarni, Mr. Yogesh Chaudhary, Mr. Arun Polyarkar, Dr. Rupesh Gautam, volunteers, scientific committee members for working hard for the past few days to make this webinar a success. I must congratulate all the participants and winners of the poster competition for their active participation. Thank you everyone once again for making it a great success.
And here I want to add thank you, Dr. Shefali, for taking care of the technical side and extending your support every time whenever anyone needs it. So thank you for being there always with us.
थोड़ा printers में सुने तुम्ही?
Thank you, participants. Kindly make sure that you are filling the feedback form which has been shared in the chat box.
Thank you, Nagappa sir. Thank you once again, and Ishaq Gir sir. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.